Come follow me. That's the invitation of Jesus. Come follow me, an invitation to tax collectors and fishermen, to the rich and the poor, to students, to teachers, to entrepreneurs and shelf stackers. Come follow me. An invitation worked out over a lifetime, through highs and lows, through the invigorating and the mundane. After our initial response, after the excitement of choosing to follow, how do we keep our focus on Jesus, and how do we stay close in the day-to-day? This podcast season, we want to ask ourselves, what are the disciplines and the rhythms we can embrace that help us follow? Over the next week, around the world, different streams of the church are starting the season of the year called Lent. Lent is a time of reflection, of stripping back, of examining, of preparing for Easter. This Lent season, we invite you to embrace discipline and depth through reflection with us. We invite you to try an ancient form of prayer as you prepare for Easter. And we invite you to look at your life and how you're living out the challenge to love. We've chosen 6 values or 6 practices that help us follow Jesus. Each week we'll be looking at how Jesus expressed them himself, how a hero or heroine of the faith lived them out, and how we can live them in our lives. The heroes and heroines we'll be drawing inspiration from are monastics and Celtic Christians. Men and women who took the call of Jesus seriously and dug deep wells of discipline in their life to drink deeply of God's presence and to take it out to people. Now, these weren't people who just cloistered themselves away. They were led by the wildness of the Holy Spirit. They wanted to not accept the status quo, but to change the culture around them where it needed. They revolutionized education, industry. They brought the gospel to whole nations. And I can say that my continent, Europe, is not the same because of these people. Though we may not be called to a monastic life, we may be called to go to university, to get a job, to have a family, to live a normal looking day to day. There's still so much we can learn from them, from their practices, from their dedication, from their love of God and others. I've been inspired by a monastic called Ignatius of Loyola. He was a man who suffered severe illness. And while he was studying, he was still seeking after God. He read a book by Thomas à Kempis called The Imitation of Christ, and he was so profoundly impacted by Jesus that he dedicated his whole life to seeking his presence and his will. He worked that out by developing practices, spiritual tools that Christians still use centuries later to enrich their walk with Jesus. The ancient prayer that we want you to adopt this Lent was created by Ignatius. It's called the Examen. As you walk toward Easter, why don't you decide to take some time before you fall asleep each night to pray this ancient form of prayer? It's really simple. First, make yourself aware of God's presence with you. Second, think through the day you've just had, but think through it with gratitude. Third, reflect on how it makes you feel. What parts of your day do you respond to emotionally? 4, choose one thing that jumps out to pray from. And 5, look to tomorrow. The Examen can take 5 minutes or it could take an hour. You could get lost in the conversation it can provoke with God. But take this tool, use it each evening, and ask Jesus to help you examine your own heart, your own life, and your own following toward him. As we prepare for Easter, we'll be releasing just one video a week to look at a particular practice in following Jesus. We'll just be releasing one, not one a day, because we want you to digest that practice, to pick it apart, to really examine your heart and your life, to spend some time on it. We'll be looking at how we express prayer, mission, mercy, learning, creativity, and hospitality towards others. So watch the videos. We'll give you a way to adapt and pray the Examen prayer around each theme that week, and explore it with others using our deeper guides. Our prayer for you this Easter: is that as you open up your heart and look at how you can follow Jesus more closely, it wouldn't just impact you. As you embrace the art of Examen, I pray that, like the monastics, you would start to have an impact on the people and on the culture surrounding you. Join us, journey to Easter, learn an ancient form of prayer, and explore 6 practices to help you follow and respond to the invitation of Christ.